Going back to the start of your career, again, I saw something on Facebook that you put on earlier on that I'd never seen before. That your first live performance was with Bernie Torme when you were 12 years old.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, can you just elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, it was a life-changing thing for me. My sister, she ran a club in North London called the Zigzag Club.
All right.
And so every day there would be bands playing, and I used to sort of hang around every day. And Bernie Torme's tour manager became friends with my sister, and then one day, because I lived on a council estate, Tower Block Council Estate, my sister said, "Oh, Bernie Torme is going to come round to see you." I was like, and she said, no, he really is.
At the time, was he in Gillen at the time?
He'd left Gillen, he'd just done the Ozzy Osbourne thing, and he was just about to start his own solo career. And lo and behold, he turned up to my little house, and he was dressed in red and black striped pants. He had these big boots on. He's a tall guy, matty blonde hair, and I had in my little bedroom just like a 5-watt practice amp, and I had a little Shaftesbury Les Paul copy. That was it. And I just used to sit playing guitar, and then he sort of came in, and and I was small. I mean, I'm not exactly massive now, but I was small then. And he comes into my bedroom, and he goes, "Oh, I hear you want to be a guitar player." And I was like, yeah, I do. And so he goes, "Oh, let me show you some things." And so he showed me the riff to Crazy Train, and then he showed me how to hammer on, and he showed me how to do harmonics and things like that. And then he said, "Would you like to get up and play with me at the Marquee Club?" At this point, I'd never played in front of anyone.
Wow.
Anyone
12 years old.
at all. And I sort of went, "Yeah." I goes, "What do you want me to play?" He goes, "Let me teach you a song by Alice Cooper called Under My Wheels."
Yeah.
And he taught me how to play this song, and then he invited me down to rehearsals, which was someplace in Fulham. I did 2 days rehearsal where I just sort of sit there on the couch watching them play, and then he'd say, "Get up, let's play the song." And then he goes, "Well, come and get up with me at the Marquee Club." And that was when it was in Wardour Street, and it was packed. I mean, it's about 800 people rammed into something like downstairs. Yeah. And then I went out and I played this song, and as soon as I came off, it was like, "This is it. This is all I want to do."
It's unbelievable.
This is all
I've never heard
do.
anything like that before.
Yeah, I know. It was
12 years old, getting up at the Marquee Club, playing an Alice Cooper classic.
Yeah, and it changed my life. Like I said earlier about all of a sudden your goal becomes, and that is it. I had no interest in anything else other than I have to learn everything about guitars. I have to be, this is it. This is what I want to do. And
so schooling just went out of the window then, did it?
I mean, I literally stopped going to school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it reached the end of the third year. I can't remember if you remember back then, at the end of the third year, you'd pick your options. Yeah. And so I just decided, well, I know what I want to do, so I don't need to go to school. I've got no interest in any of these subjects, and I've got no interest in talking to kids all day. All I want to do is play guitar. And if I'm in school, it's going to stop me from doing what I want to do. And so I made the decision not to go to school. And so then what I used to do is just go in the morning, sign the register, go back home, play guitar, go back to school, sign the register. And the teachers never even noticed that I wasn't there. I actually have one of the school reports from a metalwork teacher, and said, "I'd like to mark his work, but I've never actually seen him." And so that became the pattern. And then after a few months, it became apparent that no one cared I wasn't going. Yeah. And so all I did then was play guitar. And then I started putting bands together.
Excellent. And you first put together the first version of Jagged Edge. I mean, were you 17 when you went out on tour with Wow, the Japanese band?
Yeah, I mean, there was.
17.
Like I said before, it's just it became everything that consumed me in the day. So I'd be like this 15-year-old trying to put a band together, and a 16-year-old trying to put a band together, working with all these various people, and then gradually people stuck around for a little while, and then all of a sudden I got picked up by John Henry, who he probably still runs a massive rehearsal studio in North London, where it's all the bands used to rehearse. Gary Moore used to be in there. I could tell you stories just about those days at John Henry's. I remember when Guns N' Roses did their first ever shows in London, 3 shows at the Marquee, and they were rehearsing at John Henry's before they did these shows. And I have a very clear memory. The way it was done, it was like there was a courtyard, and I remember coming out of this door once and seeing, there was actually 4 of them, I can't remember who was missing, but these 4 guys walking towards the door, and they just looked really serious. It was kind of like, wow, who are these guys? I've never seen guys that look like this before. And obviously they then turned into like the biggest band in the world. But you'd often find the drummer just passed out in a hallway somewhere. You know, you'd be walking around the building and there he would be curled up in a corner, and you'd be like, who's that? Oh, he's the drummer of such and such band. Gary Moore brought me into a rehearsal studio once. It's because I knew Gary Moore was in there. I used to stand outside the door listening.
One of your heroes.
Yeah, one of my heroes, the Black Rose album. And so I'm listening to the band rehearse, and all of a sudden I feel a tap on my shoulder. And I don't know if you've ever met Gary Moore, but he's a very intimidating human being. Like scars down his face, and when he looks into you, he looks like...
The second concert I ever went to was Gary Moore.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. And I turned around and it was him tapping me on the shoulder because I was blocking him from getting into his own rehearsal room.
Right.
And he just went, "You want to come in and watch?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so he opened the door and he just like pointed as if to say, "Sit there, be quiet, don't do anything." And then watched him play for like the next 2.5 hours, for me just sitting there, of him with his red Strat. And just some of the most ferocious guitar playing I've ever heard or seen in my life. And this was just in a rehearsal room. He had Bob Daisley on bass, he had Eric Singer on drums, and he had Neil Carter on keyboards. So it was a devastating band. And I think I was about 16 at the time. But my point is that then I got John Henry as a manager, and then I had another guy called Joe Brown who was my manager, and he owned a company called Tasco. And then he brought Rod Smallwood in as a partner to manage me. And that's when Rod became my full-time manager after I did a show with UFO.